The Niners had their way on Thursday Night Football, showing that they are a much better team than the Seattle Seahawks, despite their injuries, despite their adversity, not having their corner, not having many key defensive players. They showed up to play. They had things not go their way, specifically with the officiating department. The officials missed a massive botched call when they had a review. They didn't have the angle that we had on live television, but there was a call that was missed that could have blown this game out of immense proportions. Instead, Seattle stuck around, tried to get back into it, but didn't have enough. If you want to know why Seattle lost this football game, they cannot hold on to the football. Geno Smith had 2 interceptions that were costly, a fumble by Chenault. Thankfully, he was able to redeem himself with a touchdown. But these plays were the biggest game changers as to why Seattle could not win this game. Geno threw a ball to DK, a wonderful read by the defensive player, but you can't throw that ball in such a close game. You're down 23-17. You don't need to get everything on that play. And instead, he throws a ball that he knows he wants to have back. And we're looking at a team that went from 3-0 to 3-3. There is a lot of frustration as a Seahawks fan side when you're seeing this team play because you know they have more in them, but they're not showing up. Niners have a second string running back in there with Mason. The third stringer comes on and he just shows up. Next man up mentality is that Niners squad. They're 3-3. They have injuries. They have things going against them, and they are stepping up. Even with the third string running back, they're able to eclipse 200 yards rushing. This is the storyline for the Seahawks, not just in this season, but in seasons past. They can't stop the run, and they're struggling to run the ball. They tried to run the ball today, went to Kenneth Walker, and he wasn't able to get over a 3-yard per average. Then Geno Smith throws the ball 52 times. It is not a well-oiled machine for the Seattle Seahawks by any means. It's a well-oiled machine when you look at the Niners. And I think Seattle can get to where they want to go. I don't know if that's going to be this season, but 6 weeks into the season, you're looking at this squad and you're seeing a lot of miscues. Ken Walker moving in motion when DK Metcalf got a massive touchdown is just a mistake you can't make at that time of the game. On top of that, you're driving down the football field and you're taking a very long time. You scored your touchdown there around 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes. Instead, you scored with 1:44 left, 49 left. Massive difference in time management. A team that just does not look disciplined when they need to be. It's frustrating to watch because you know that they have the playmakers to make a run. You have a DK Metcalf, you have a JSN, you have a Lockett, you have a Fant, you have a Walker, Charbonnet. Those are amazing pieces when it comes to key offensive players. The O-line had struggles today. Holding calls, false start. Just not a good enough game for this team. Defense struggling to get to the quarterback. Brock Purdy's jersey is clean today. Brock Purdy was not able to get down to the ground because there were 0 sacks on the Seahawks end. D-line is a struggle, and D-line is an area that they've put a lot of money into. It's not an area that should be struggling with how much money they have invested, as well as draft picks. They've had injuries, don't get me wrong, but they are not stepping up with that next man up mentality. It is a tough watch right now for the Seahawks because you saw a team went 3-0, and you were kind of going, wow, this is amazing. Maybe they're peaking. Maybe the new scheme is working. And now you got 42 points, 29 points, 36 points. You've got games where they're not immensely competitive. Games where several in a row, it's been 2 possessions. Miscues that can be changed. And I think Mike Macdonald is going to be able to turn this team around. I'm just stating the obvious of where they are right now. Where they are right now is not where they need to be if they want to be a playoff team. Initially, 3 weeks ago or 3 games ago, 14 days ago, I was pumped, ecstatic, 3-0. Wow. This is a reality check. Obviously, there's a lot of room to grow. A lot more development that has to happen. But I think it's time that, you know what, put people on the squad, have the next man up mentality that want to be here. It's seeming that many are making business decisions, not really pushing to the line of attack It seems like they're giving up. I mean, to give up a 70-yard run when you have your backs against the wall, but you have 3 timeouts, your offense just finally got it. The defense gives up a 70-yard rush. And on top of that, they were given a gift. He didn't go into the end zone. And then Kyle Juszczyk gets in. Unreal. George Kittle, it's so tough watching the Seahawks play against George Kittle. What a baller he is. 2 touchdowns in this game. Phenomenal performance. Brock Purdy, phenomenal performance. I'm talking strictly about where Seattle went wrong, but give credit where credit is due. Shanahan has a well-oiled machine in the Niners. And you might be going, oh, well, they can't win the Super Bowl. Who cares? They're a good team. They've been dominant in the NFC, dominant against the Seahawks for years, ever since Russell's left. And we can see why. Because they've got an excellent program over there. They've done a great job with that GM and John Lynch and Shanahan. They have done phenomenal things, building a roster, building a squad that's sustainable. And there's a large margin of where the Seahawks are and where the Niners are. And that's okay. I think we all saw that coming into this season and even prior seasons. We clearly see that the Niners are a really good team. And Seattle has a lot of room to improve, a lot of room to go. And this was a get right game for the Niners, and they got right. It was tough to see KJ Wright on the sideline. What a wonderful player he was for Seattle, but good to him. Good for him. He's getting the opportunity to become a coach. Hope he does really well over there because he was a great, amazing player, and it's football, y'all. It's fun to watch. It was a great game. I'm glad that Seattle made it competitive. They fought back. They were down 23-3, fought back. Obviously, that punt return was very weird, very frustrating. As a fan of football, you're kind of excited to see Seahawks from. You're always kind of like, that was pretty bad. And it is what it is. The game is over. They lost another one. It was weird to have that false start be called, and then there was an accepted face mask. I'm just not privy with the rule. Did not think that was the case. I'm very surprised that there was the ability to call a penalty after a dead ball foul, but it is what it is. Seattle is 3-3. You got to get right. You got to start making some improvements. And I saw an adjustment in Ryan Grubb trying to get more run plays, and then it wasn't working. So they went to passing. It's tough, but I think you're seeing where you are as a team. You're seeing the positives and negatives. It's good to be at least 3-3, right? Seattle could have started out the season struggling against teams that they should have beaten. And you would feel better about this loss, as I just said that. You would feel better about this loss. They didn't lose against the Giants on Sunday. You feel really tough now with the idea that, oh, it's 3-3, but you came against a team just 4 days ago, that you didn't get the job done. And then you had the Niners where they had opportunities. Okay, Seattle had opportunities given to them, and they didn't take advantage of them. It's back-to-back weeks, 5 days in a row, where they have had opportunities and not taken them. Now, it's a new regime. As I mentioned in my first 6 weeks of covering the Seahawks this year, it's a new regime. McDonald, I think, has what it takes. By no means am I thinking, fire the head coach or fire this guy. I just think the players got to step up. They got to show that they are worth the contract they're being paid. Seattle has not invested in the D-line the way that they did, expecting them to get no sacks in a game. Yes, I recognize there's no Byron Murphy. Recognize there's no Chenna. However, there's still many other guys in that team that are getting paid pretty pennies. And you need to get to the quarterback. You need to stop running lanes. And they're not doing it. Your corners can only cover for so long. Your safeties can only do so well. Your linebackers can only do so much. But when you give 5 seconds to a quarterback, no matter who you got back there, they're going to do well. Regardless, Brock Purdy's a good and great quarterback. What a wonderful story for him and coming to the NFL. I love his story. Underdog, just Mr. Irrelevant, and yet he's been so relevant. And he's been a Seahawk destroyer. That's just what it is. The Niners are a good football team. They've done a great job against Seattle. It is what it is. They're a great team. And the margin of where Seattle is and where they are, it's big. However, I think Seattle can get there. I think they can keep improving. And we'll see what happens. This mini bye week and a half is, I think, good for Seattle to take some time to look at film, to take time to get better, improve, find the strengths, work on those, show areas where you can improve. They'll get it right. It may not mean that they're going to be a deep run playoff team, but they're going to get it right. It may not be this season, but I do see this as entertaining football, at least. It is weird. I would say that most games, even in prior years, they're in it to the end, and they have kind of been in it to the end, but they're just making too many mistakes, too many errors, and it's costing them. We'll see what they do next time when they come back on that field. And hopefully they have a much more solidified 60 minutes game plan that's going to result in a win. Because the Niners, if they would have lost this game, moved to 2-4, 0-3 in the division, huge for Seattle. Also huge if you took care of business against the Giants. You're only 4-2, not 3-3. Miscues, mistakes. That's why Seattle lost this game. And also, Niners are a great football team. Regardless of where they've been and how they've done so far, they're still good. Just a wonderful game by the San Francisco 49ers. Give them credit. They are a good football team. Seattle can use this as a learning and a moment of growth. They've had a lot of them in the last 3 weeks, but I think it'll help them. They'll get it right.